Moving on then. Right, so Madison, guys, that was the last big tournament over your side of the world, that one. So let's have a little look. Obviously, Big Clowns won. Obviously, we actually had 4 in day 2, which was surprising. So, haven't really done that much in the last few events. And then what also was surprising was the 4 baby clowns in day 2 as well. So my question to you is, Rudy, which deck do you think is better and why?
Well, I was actually a huge advocate of the Big Blacephalon before the event. Um, it was my second pick going in, even though I wasn't going to the event. So I really thought that was a good play for the event. So I think that is the better deck. But I do see the merit to the baby deck if you don't get let loose, field blower knocked out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the big weakness right now to the baby deck. But I think it's still very strong. But the big one just outclasses it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the 2, Kirk?
You know, you have to give the nod to the deck that won the tournament, right? I think it's just it'd be a little bit ignorant not to. Danny Chalet, I want to throw him out. Baby Blacephalon player that made day 2. We did not get to showcase him on stream, but he had a pretty spicy Baby Blacephalon list. I think the right list can do a little bit better than what we saw on camera. Again, I can only speak to what I saw in the booth. Baby Blacephalon is such a high roll deck. If you're willing to have your weekend hinge on that, then by all means, like, I respect that decision 100%. I've made those calls for tournaments before, but I think if you're going for, I want the best even across the board, understand what my deck does, expect exactly what my deck to do is going to do that, then I think Baby Blacephalon's probably, or the Big Blacephalon's probably the choice for you.
And I did an interview with Danny Chalet, and he was very confident in his build, and he
Mm-hmm.
said he would take his exact 60 to the tournament again. So if you're interested in a good Baby Blacephalon list, definitely check his out because it's spot on.
Yeah, I was actually watching that video earlier, not gonna lie. So my questions to you guys then, fellas. Baby clowns, from what I saw, they all seem to have different counts of different things. Some had some and some didn't. Ironically, Jirachi version seemed to be the most popular over here, and that didn't have a showing at all. But then there's some decks that over there had Flareon, Victini, Arcanine. So my question to you is, Kurt, which one of those techs, if any, would you be playing in your list if you was playing it tomorrow?
Definitely play Victini. I think that's a no-brainer. Follows on the theme of your deck of single prize attackers. As everybody knows, my opinion on Lost March was to never play a Tapu Lele GX just because it defeats the purpose of what you're trying to work towards. I think the context of the format leads that away a little bit. When it comes to Baby Blacephalon, what Flareon GX adds to your deck, I don't think it's necessarily worth it. And we actually saw it the 2 times, or the first time Baby Blacephalon was on camera, day 2. It lost solely because of Let Loose, but most importantly because of Flareon GX allowing the prize trade to remain even until that Let Loose stuck. So I would definitely say Victini's yes, Flareon GX I'd be a little bit more wary of.
Okay, do you have any thoughts on Arcanine?
For me personally, I think Arcanine again serves itself a little bit better in the Reshizard list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think, like, before playing a Growlithe Arcanine line, I would consider like another rescue stretcher. Like, I know you
Yeah,
already play like 3 copies or whatever, but I would be more willing to have the 4th copy in another space in my deck for something else than try and shoehorn Arcanine in the deck.
yeah, that seems fair. Rudy, same question to you. Any of those make it into your list, and or why?
I think that I would not play any of the Flareon or the Victini, but I would definitely play the Arcanine because I do not want to take an auto loss to Vileplume. Um,
Okay.
I know Vileplume didn't show up at the event, but I am not taking the auto loss to that matchup, and the attacks on Arcanine aren't even bad. They're pretty good, I think. So
Oh no, the attacks are really good, to be fair. But I think out of all those, Victini seems to be the one that I thought would gravitate into almost every list. Why did you choose? What's making you shy away from that?
um, well, The Victini, I feel is it's kind of like what's the word for it? It's kind of
Counterintuitive. Is
it's
that
just it's no, it's not counterintuitive. It's it's basically the Blown, but it's weaker. And why would you use the Victini if you could just use the Blown? That's
okay?
what I'm trying to get at here. I mean, it could be like cute to finish games, but I think I'd just rather attack with the Baby Blonde if I had to. So,
That's a,
or a Blacephalon GX to burst for the game, like instead of using the Victini.
okay. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Yeah, are we playing a big clown in our list, Kirk? Do you reckon?
I'm going to keep the same mentality I did when I was speaking to Flareon GX.
Yep.
There's certainly merit there, but it's one of those things. The moment, I guess it's not as bad if you start it because you do have the Burst GX to be able to get like some quick hit value out of it. So it's not necessarily as bad as Flareon GX. But my inclination when I look at those single prize type attacking decks is how can I do that without the potential of having a GX on the field and allowing my opponent to use that against me to kind of take away the single prize attacking advantage that I'm setting myself up to do.
Well, my argument to that is that although you might start at some games and your opponent can win the prize trade that way, that's a whole nother thing. Then you can literally go Blacephalon Energy, win the game, when you would have to go like Welder or set up something else to get the Baby Blacephalon rolling, when you can literally just attach a single energy and win the game off of Burst GX. I think that's far too powerful to pass up on in the build.
Completely fair. That's completely fair.
It is one of them, to be fair. Normally, I see where Kurt's coming from. He playing non-J, want to sort of try and streamline that as much as possible. But I think because Big Clown has that sort of one energy, or take a prize straight away, it sort of teeters. I can see both sides there. I reckon if I was playing it, I probably would be playing a Big Clown. Would I be playing Victini? You might even struggle. I don't know. He can weld it to energy on. I'm not sure. And then Jirachi, that seemed to have no showing over there in Madison. Any thoughts on Jirachi build, fellas?
I think
that
you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, what I was going to lead with, I'm going to pitch this over to Rudy because I don't know enough to speak to it. So my apologies there.
Yeah. So from what Danny Chalet told me, in his build he was playing one of Lucamine Prism Star,
Yes.
which is absolutely ridiculous. If you're playing the Baby Blondes, you can literally deny your opponent the opportunity to knock something on your board out, which is crazy. You can keep all your energy on the board, deny a prize card, and continue to attack next turn.
Yeah.
I think this alone is a good enough reason to not play Jirachi. I think that's too powerful.
To be fair, it is absolutely nuts. I've played it a couple of times on TCG, just like, right, well, you're not taking a prize this turn, buddy. Like you said, my energy's staying there. It is absolutely bonkers. So I'm guessing you just greens that out when you need it, right? Or you just sort of preemptively greens out,
Greens, Pokegear, all the good stuff.
Okay, so there we go. A little look at Baby Clowns. Now over to Big Clowns. Not a terrible amount of sort of list variation, but I did see some had Volk, some had Dedenne, some had Persian, or well, obviously some didn't. So my question to you is, Kirk, in a Big Clowns list, are you playing any of them?
I think I'm playing again with the GX deck, since I'm actually playing a deck that wants that GX Pokemon in there. I think a copy of Dedenne is probably nice. I will be incredibly candid. I haven't actually physically played any games with the new cards included. I don't necessarily see too much value on Baby Volcanion. I think that's just an unnecessary cog in the machine.
Yep.
At least Dedenne can help you maybe let looses, draw some cards, keep your turns going when you need to, have the right amount of energy on board, or be able to discard fire energy, which is, so incredibly important to be able to charge up your Naganadels and do those big attacks. So I'd lean probably closer to yes on Dedenne GX. I don't think I have much interest in Volcanion.
Okay.
And we're speaking to the Flare starter Volcanion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then Rudy, over to you. Any sort of techs that are making it into your big clowns list?
I'd say that even though there was a Lele, and I don't know if there was a Dedenne, but I think there was a Dedenne in the winning list, I would actually argue not to play those and to play just the Let Looses. Similar to what Kirk said about Lost March, I know this is a Blound's GX deck, but when you want to keep your board to a state where you only have one prizers down to kind of lock your opponent out of the prize trade, I think it's really important to not have a GX on the board. A lot of people disagree. A lot of people think that you need to find the Welders and Lilies at the right times with the Lele. But I think that with the Heat Factories and the Let Loose Marshettas, there is enough digging power in the deck to find what you need.
Okay, so you're against the Lele and the Dene then?
Yeah.
For the most part. Okay, and I did see one list that had some, I think, a two Persian or something along those lines. No muck, just
I think
a
it
Persian.
was a 1/1 Persian.
Oh, 1/1. And what
it
was
was
our
Exasage.
Okay, and then what's our thoughts on that, Rudy?
I think that I'm against it because I think that the only GX in the Blound deck should be
the
Blacephalon. But I have never played a game with the Persian in my list, so I have no clue how to answer that question.
It just seems so good that when they take out the first two prizes, you're like, yeah, B string. Like on paper, that's how it should go, right? Well, obviously, whether or not that happens.
Yeah, that seems really powerful. I'll have to try it out, but I honestly can't give a valid opinion on it because I've never tried it.
Okay. Kirk, do you have any thoughts on Persian in big clowns?
Again, I think that's I agree with Rudy. I haven't played with it. It seems cute for the sake of being cute. How many times are you actually going to give up a knockout on the Blacephalon and also have Catwalk set up to be able to do that B string turn? The whole deck is based on getting those B strings in the 3-4 prize range anyways. You can do that through Let Looses, as Rudy mentioned. I think you can make an argument that it's actually easier to get to a B string outside of Catwalk using Dede Change. As we were discussing before with Dedenne, it's much easier to bench one Pokemon after it happens and be able to discard your hand, draw 6, hit some supporters, maybe another Let Loose, and dig that way, than it is to have a bench spot soaked up with a Persian GX already. They take a knockout on not the Persian GX, and then being able to catwalk for the B string. So I'm sure when it feels good, when you get 2 B strings off of it, you're just on top of the world. But how many times you're actually cashing in on that, I guess only Zach Lesage can say.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. I'm looking at the list now, and since he doesn't run any Nest Balls or anything, he runs Free Ultra. Now I think about it, how are you getting that Meowth down so early for it to actually be impactful, right? Like, how are you searching it? How are you searching everything here? But again, only he can obviously say that. So yeah, that's a pretty good look at Baby Clowns. So, and Big Clowns, I should say. So, do we think, now that it's on the map, obviously both variants over there, do you reckon they get better or worse moving forward to Columbus, Rudy?
I believe that Big Clowns gets worse, but Baby Clowns gets better. But I still think Big Clowns is a better deck. Okay,
fair enough. And same question to you, Kurt?
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Rudy said. And just to extrapolate on why I think Blacephalon is going to go down in popularity, much like other decks that I enjoy, for example, I'll just pluck one out of the air randomly. We'll say Lost March. Its spot in the meta changes as the meta changes around it. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily get improved to a point where it, continues on a rise. It's not like a Zoroark deck that can pick up new tools, by week to week, stay its core the same and get better. It just needs the meta to hit the right cycle around it. I think the cycle's moving incredibly quickly now, and I think it was just the week for Blacephalon to take advantage of the 27 copies of Reshizard that were in day 2, and walk its way to the top, and I think that's exactly what happened. So I agree with Rudy 100% on that.
Yeah, that seems pretty fair. I don't really have a lot of Blacephalon knowledge, or I haven't really played it much, I wouldn't know. But I would say, with tag teams being so prevalent, you know, taking 3, giving up 2 seems cool. Hey guys, thanks for watching that video, much appreciated, really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't hesitate to subscribe. I try and put out as much stuff here as I can, full deck profiles plus games, topic conversational pieces regarding anything in the TCG. Check out my Twitter, check out my Facebook, that's where you get most of the updates, sort of see what's going on behind the scenes, all that good stuff. Also check out the SoundCloud for the full bi-weekly podcast. If you're interested, if you like the conversational pieces, go check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day.